Guys, this is Ashley Kay, and in this video I want to talk about the secret to everlasting relationship success. I'm sure when you hear me say this, you're probably expecting something different to what I'm going to share with you. There are two groups of people in the world, and the first group of people are the ones who like to learn, the ones who are open to new ideas, to suggestions, to trying new things, to improving, growing. That's the first group of people, Group A. Now, the second group of people are the ones who really resist change. They resist taking in new information. They're usually the type that think they know it all. So they think they're really smart, they know it all. They tend to try to figure things out on their own. And whenever people give them advice, they tend to reject it or want to argue against it. So the second group of people obviously are really hard to give advice to, and they're also very hard in trying to change because they really resist change. So if you're watching this video, then the good news is you are the first group of people, right? If you're watching this video, clearly from having a problem, from going through a breakup, from wanting to resolve your problem because you don't know how, you have proactively come on the internet and tried to look for a solution. So that's why you're watching this video. That is a huge advantage and benefit to you because in terms of having relationship success, relationships are a challenge. They're not easy. And you're going to come across new challenges, new things, obstacles that you've never had to deal with before. And how do you deal with them? You deal with them by learning how to deal with it through from people who have done it before you, from people who have the experience. Okay, so you need to be able to take in new information, new knowledge, and be able to use it and try new things out to learn. So that's really key. Okay, so in terms of relationship success, you've already got one of the key things that you need to make a relationship work. First, you need to be aware that the natural progression of a relationship usually tend to go like this. So you go into a relationship, everything is great and wonderful in the beginning. That during that honeymoon period, everything is easy because you're getting along, you're falling in love, it's great. Okay, but then after a while, say usually a year or two, you've both fallen into this very comfortable level with each other. You're used to each other. So you end up doing the same kind of stuff, day in, day out. Every week you go to the same places, you see the same friends, you do the same activities together, you talk about roughly the same sort of stuff, right? So there's no real variety anymore to your relationship. Now, what tends to happen here when the relationship falls into that comfortable zone is men are usually the ones to shift their focus away from the relationship first. So once they feel like they have the woman, then they're usually the ones to become complacent and relax. They start focusing more on their careers, on their friends, on going out, on fulfilling, their other needs. And they slack off a little bit they don't tend to give their woman as much attention. They don't do as much romantic things. Their efforts just kind of slack, right? Now, women are very sensitive to these kind of changes. So we will instantly pick up when a man starts to shift his focus, and we will probably become annoyed because the funny thing is, as a relationship progresses, men tend to do less over time and women tend to expect more. So as you can see, this will cause quite a bit of conflict there. So what happens then is a woman will usually be the one to start the arguments because she instantly notices, oh, he's not paying me as much attention anymore. He is doing other things. He's not as romantic. He's not as loving anymore. And then also a woman can also start being less appreciative, do less nice things than she used to, and also be like less loving and all that sort of stuff. So both sides can be guilty of this. So then what happens is you get into arguments, and most people don't know how to deal with these arguments. So what happens is usually the guy may, be forced into doing things that, forced into doing the nice things that he used to do. So now, because he feels forced into it, there's going to be a bit of resentment building up, because he doesn't want to be told what to do, really. He wants his freedom and that sort of thing. And the woman also feels like, well, she shouldn't need to tell a guy what to do. He should just be loving and supportive and all that stuff to her on his own. So at the same time she's telling him what to do, she's also resenting the fact that she has to tell him, right? So this causes quite a bit of tension. And in the beginning, you might have an argument, then you'll make up, then things will go back to normal. And then after a while, the arguments start again. And usually in every relationship, there is a recurring theme of arguments. So they always come back up over and over again. And that's because it's not dealt with. The core issue just has not been dealt with. So after a while of these recurring arguments and things not being resolved, the relationship becomes quite fragile. Okay, so it's so fragile to the point where any changes to your environment, like for example, someone new coming into the picture, someone getting a job, someone needs to move away, or you go on vacation or something. When the environment changes, that's when arguments can start very easily, and because of the stress, And then once an argument starts, a woman will tend to do this. She will end up bringing up every single problem she's ever had in the relationship in that one argument and basically blow it way out of proportion, right? She does this because she's so in the moment of it that she just feels like she needs to get it all out of her system. Obviously, this is bad, because then what happens is you end up saying hurtful things you don't mean, and most likely, you're going to break up. And actually, a lot of relationships break up like this. It's a very common pattern. Now, in order to avoid this common pattern happening, first you need to realize, before you even get into a relationship, that once the honeymoon period ends, once the rosy period is over and you become comfortable, that's when the real journey of the relationship actually starts. Okay, so you need to already expect that relationship's going to require consistent work, and you need to consistently be improving it and growing it. So you need to really nurture this relationship, because if you don't nurture, if you don't put the attention it needs, then it's going to die. Just like a business, if you don't put in the effort over time, consistently, every year, then it's going to die. So just like a business though, you need to know where to put your efforts. Okay, you can't just put it in anywhere and expect it to thrive. And this is where the concept of learning, the wanting to learn comes in, because obviously if you've never done it before, and a relationship with each new person will be different too, right? So you need to not only want to constantly strive to get to know your partner, get to know what they want, what they like, what they need to feel loved and appreciated and all that. But you also need to learn some skills that you need to progress the relationship along much more smoothly. So for example, communication skills. You need to know how to argue constructively, how to give your opinions in a way that doesn't hurt the other person, and all that sort of stuff. And these are things you can learn, right? There's the internet, there's books out there, it's all over the place. There's information like this out there. So if you go into a relationship expecting to learn the skills you need to keep it going strong, then you're already halfway there. You're already way ahead of the second group of people who don't want to learn, don't want to change. Okay, now the second thing you need to do is you also need to continue improving yourself. So what a lot of people tend to do is when they're single, they put a lot of work into themselves. They go to the gym, they are learning a whole bunch of different things to improve themselves. They're going out regularly, they're making friends, keeping friendships, they're just all around taking care of themselves. But then when they get into a relationship, a lot of times they tend to slack off in some areas. They stop doing some of the things they used to do when they were single to take care of themselves. Because they feel like they don't need to do that anymore, or because their initial motivation to do that was really to get a partner. And once they have a partner, they feel like they don't need to do it anymore. Okay, that's a mistake. You want to, when you get into a relationship, continue to improve and work on yourself, because those are the qualities that attracted your partner to you in the first place, right? You don't want your partner to suddenly one day wake up, look at you and be like, who is this person? I don't even recognize them. They're totally different from the person I fell in love with. You don't want that, because if that happens, then most likely they'll want to leave you, right? So you want to also get into a relationship expecting that you need to continue the work on yourself and continue the work on your relationship. So this is the best way to having a relationship that is successful over the long term. Because obviously, if you've got two people both learning, growing themselves, both willing to put in effort to grow and nurture the relationship, then it's going to work, right? You have a much higher chance of making that relationship work than the second group of people who resist change, so bad. So with that in mind, you also want to be careful. If you're in the first group of people, you don't want to get involved with the group B, because if you are trying to change, if you want to improve and change, but the group B person is like resisting change, you're going to have conflict, because they may see you trying to change and they'll want to stop you from changing, because they don't like change. So depending on how strong their personality is, they may even try to bring you down, because they don't like that. They want you to stay the same. They want themselves to stay the same. And obviously this will not work out in the long run anyway. So that's just something to keep in mind. So basically that's my advice for today about the secret to everlasting relationship success. If you please give me some feedback if you like this video, what you think of it. And also check out my site, lovedelusions.com, for more videos like this and articles. And I'll talk to you soon.